What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Jim Dropper Sports. I'm your host, Sean T. Stewart, back here with my co-host, D'Angelo Stevenson. My boy. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, man. Look, this is the first time since we've been doing this show that we can genuinely say we gotta talk about the Virginia Cavaliers. My boy. Friday night, big time stage. The lights are on. Florida State travels to Charlottesville to play the Virginia Cavaliers. And me and A spoke about it before. And during the game, it came to fruition. That was a trap game. I said if Florida State didn't come with it on a Friday night, you know what I'm saying, short week, they were going to be in trouble. And Virginia, who has been a team that I've kept my eye out on because of my boy right here, you know what I'm saying, because he had a university, I got to try to look out for him. But no joke. Virginia, if you watch them, they've been a team they play well all year. They had the one loss to NC State to this point that was, if you watched it, I'm not going to say fluky, but they could have very well won that game and could have very well gone into that game undefeated. They handled business. And I got to ask you, because you were there, brother, how was the crowd? How was the atmosphere in that building?
It was wild, man. I think just going into the second half, tied 21-21, it was like obviously like what you expect from like student section, everybody going doing their thing or whatever. But man, it was like intense. Like the whole I like bro, I've been there. This is my third season. I've never seen that place be packed from top to bottom, from first to fourth, like just in it. You know what I'm saying? That was like a top five like stadium type atmosphere for me, man. But it was as the game was winding down, as it went into double overtime, and just the suspense with that as well, bro. You could just feel the rush of like the student section because we have a hill. Like everybody, like we got a hill. Everybody don't know, but we don't have any like barricades and no walls. It's none of that. It's literally just the hill. And you go straight down. So it's like throughout the tilt pass in the end zone. And from that moment up until the interception at the end that Castillo had threw, it was like let him out. It was like let him out. So I remember, bro, like the police was just like, "Yo, what you gonna do?" And I was like, "I gotta stand right here." He was like, "Nah, you gotta stand behind us because they coming. They coming." Like, bro, it was to the point where it was like I think it was like 10 seconds left on the field, and they was going under the field goal net. And they was like, "Yo, we winning this game." So when they rushed the field, it was a beautiful moment, and not to get too personal, but just given everything that's happened during the Tony Elliott era, from when I got there, from the tragedy and everything else that happened, that was such a surreal moment, just to witness that, to be a part of that, to just the emotions for everybody. It was just pure happiness. It was like no sad face. It was just all happiness. And from a team standpoint, man, if it hadn't been from the North Carolina State loss, the unfortunate loss in the back of the end zone, the pick, man, we would have been undefeated going into Louisville, man. Like it was crazy, man. It was surreal, bro. It was a surreal moment.
Hey, look, man, even with the NC State loss, I think if anyone would have said through 5 games, the Virginia Cavaliers would be 4-1, I think anybody in that fan base and anybody in that building would take it in a heartbeat. Knowing what's all transpired, like, yeah, everything's kind of laid out right there in front of you. So there's got to be a lot of excitement in that building. That field rush, that field storming, probably hands down maybe the best field storm I've ever seen. That was one of the best field stormings. Get well soon to the wide receiver from Florida State that may have or may have not gotten trampled in that rush. You know what I'm saying? But just the pure excitement of that game that was one of the best games of the college football season to date. Like, I think right now, that game, along with maybe one other that happened over the weekend, tied for probably the best 2 performances of college football thus far. But I just want to talk a little bit about the performances from the players. Jamari Taylor, 27 carries, 99 yards rushing and a touchdown. Xavier Brown, 9 carries, 60 yards. And Chandler Morris, 8 carries, 37 yards and 3 touchdowns. Even when you started to see him have, I think he hurt his hand at some point throughout the course of that game. Still find a way to get it done with his legs. Had some turnovers, of course. You don't necessarily love that, but still, the battle and the fight between with all of those guys to be able to fight through some of the turnovers, some of the mistakes. To mind you, those mistakes allowed Florida State back into that game. Florida State was kind of dead in the water there early on until those interceptions started to happen, until those turnovers started to take shape. So I want to say kudos to a team knowing, continuously fighting through mistakes and fighting through adversity. That's how you win big games like that. And for Florida State, I mean, they put themselves behind the 8-ball. And I think you started to see some of the limitations with their offense as the game kept progressing. Not that I believe they can't pass the ball, but their passing game is a bit more limited than I would have thought to this point. Now, I thought as we got like a month through the season, this team would have gotten it all down pat. They're still kind of hit and miss when it comes out to the passing game. They're more of a deep shot passing game, big time. Like if they're not making the big play, many plays aren't getting made in there with Tommy Castellanos and their passing attack with Gus Malzahn. So that's kind of my biggest surprise. I mean, they had a big touchdown that was called back in OT where the receiver juggled it, and it's one of those where it's like, if I'm a quarterback, I can't put it in your hands any better than that. So for Florida State, I know they face a very motivated Miami team this upcoming week. And I mean, they'll be at home for it, but that's gonna be a dicey one. I'm having trouble deciding where I want to go, where I want to lean with that game. As of right now, I'm probably taking Miami, just because I've been impressed with what I've seen from those boys in terms of their physicality and what they're bringing to the table. I think that's probably the most physically imposing team in the conference that I've seen. And that's typically reserved for a team like Clemson. Typically, when I think about who's going to physically impose their will on the game, Clemson's typically the team that I would think of. Miami's clearly that team for me this year. Just with some of their playmakers. I want to say the freshman wide receiver, number 10, he plays with the physical edge to him. Like, he really gets after it. Their defense, Ruben Bain, one of the best defensive players in the nation, really gets after it. So I'm impressed with what I've seen from them. But you guys play the Louisville Cardinals, and if people don't know, Louisville is another one of those teams in the ACC that is vying for a spot in the conference title game. So best beware. Big opportunity there for y'all. I think a big opportunity to follow up on what you did last week and see, hey, it's not just a one-time thing. We can actually build on top of this. And I think it's a huge follow-up for the Tony Elliott era there at UVA. I will say, because when is that game? That's going to be a 3:30 game on Saturday. On the road too. Win that game right there, bro. And I know you said it in the pre-show. You win that game, then I don't think there's anybody else in the conference better than you other than Miami to that point.
I think a lot of that is going to come down to the resilience. I feel like this team has shown a lot of that this season, especially with the predictions of, especially going into that Florida State game. Not a lot of people had us winning that game. I don't think a lot of our fans had us winning that game. But to see this is the style of play that we had, and I know it was against William & Mary, but the game we had against William & Mary, that kind of defined to me. It's like, hey, we can, with our run game, we can stand the test of our own. And a lot of people don't understand how, like, Trey Harris is, bro. Like that, I don't know if y'all seen that man play. That dude off the line, that man, he jumping out the line, he gone. Once he's past you, he's gone. So he wasn't really affected that much against Florida State. We understood that because their secondary is a little bit decent, but the run game was what it was. Chandler Morris, like I said, he did hurt his hand on like that weekend. You can see him like bothering after the post game. But the run game is just it's very unique because you have two running backs, and then you have Chandler Morris doing this thing, from the goal line, usually within the red zone. But and our secondary stepped up a lot too as well. So I mean, it's one of those situations where we got to go into a hostile environment. Obviously Louisville is one of those teams that they not play with. So we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out, man. Like I'm excited to see what this game is gonna be. I don't really have a prediction right now with it, but like it could come down to the wire. It really could come down to the wire. It really could.
Look, man, the ACC has been a very pleasant surprise this year. I've been very pleased watching that conference and how it's played out this year because there's going to be a new team to step up this year. There is like the same old powers that be aren't displaying that on a regular basis. So there's opportunity for any and everyone. And college football as a whole has looked like that this year. And another big game, you had LSU versus Ole Miss. This game, LSU's got some questions, man. LSU has some real questions with that offense, and whether it be Garrett Nussmeier dealing with the untold injury that we haven't been privy to, but people keep alluding to him not being 100%. That offense hasn't found its stride. It hasn't found it all season when you think about it, because even when you go back to week 1, they had a solid performance. They weren't spectacular, but that's not to be expected in week 1. But we thought in the subsequent weeks we would see this offense start to gain more steam and pick it up more, because Garrett Nussmeier is one of those quarterbacks that coming into the season, everybody talked about as being, hey, possible Heisman candidate, possible, you're talking about a guy that's probably going to be a top maybe 20 draft pick in the NFL draft, because quarterback position is just that scarce. So I think for him and that group to not reach its potential, even with some of the weapons they have, and then you go on the road and you lose to a tough Ole Miss team, they have questions moving forward as to, hey, can you weather the storm? And there are a lot of questions in the SEC in general, because there isn't a truly dominant group in that conference right now. I don't know if you got to watch it, but I just want to know what your thoughts were on the LSU Tigers in that Ole Miss game.
I didn't really watch much of it, and I was still on a high. Obviously, I was watching the boys on Saturday, so you already know what that was. But I ain't really got. That's probably something I ain't really got much on. I really don't have an opinion on it because I really didn't watch it.
True, and look, completely understandable, bro. When I look at what Ole Miss been able to do, Trinidad, I don't want to mispronounce his name. Trinidad Chambliss. He is the backup quarterback transferred from Ferris State, D2 Ferris State. Has taken over for Austin Simmons since he's been injured, and he now has the starting role now for the foreseeable future. He's handled it well. He's handled that pressure very well and stabilized that position, and I think is deserving of getting that starting spot. As of right now, I look at what Ole Miss has coming up. They have Washington State in a weird game. They have a bye week, then they have Washington State. Then they'll have a road game to Athens on October 18th. Then they got a game against Oklahoma coming up, and then they got a date with South Carolina coming up as well. So they got some games that will test their mettle. But for LSU, obviously they have for South Carolina, we're on a bye week, and then we see LSU on October 11th in a big matchup there in Baton Rouge. It's a lot of questions, dog. It's a lot. I have a lot more questions about the SEC than I have answers, because I didn't get clear-cut answers from the rest of the games that played out over the weekend as well. Just keeping the SEC, we can go to Georgia versus Alabama. I don't know if you got a chance to watch this one either. I know my multi-view was jumping this weekend on YouTube TV. That's all I can say. I had the Bama Georgia game, Penn State, Oregon, and South Carolina versus Kentucky all on the screen, brother. I was locked.
He was locked in, man. He was definitely locked in. I got a glimpse of the Georgia Alabama game, man. This weekend was so tunnel vision between two games for me. It was literally UVA and Florida State Friday, South Carolina and Kentucky on Saturday. But hey, bro, like the thing with the Bama Georgia game, bro, like, is it time to start questioning Georgia at this point? Do you feel like the high is finally coming down? We talked about a while ago. We talked about the success of Nick Saban and Bama. We talked about that. I think it was last year. I think it was before the season ended. Do you think Bama's reign is slowly declining quicker and earlier? Does Kirby Smart still have it? Are people still figuring them out? Was it just a fling for Georgia? Was the fling just to have a couple of seasons? I don't know. But when you look at that game at the crib, I don't know, man. Is that for me? That is a game that I feel like you should have won. One off
No,
off
absolutely.
you should have won that game at the house. You get what I'm saying? Like Gunnar Stockton, the quarterback's position at Georgia. I don't I don't know, bro. Like it's so many years in the past where like the quarterback position hasn't been an issue at Georgia, but it's just like now it's just a big question mark. And you look at Ty Simpson and Alabama, man, like 276, he got 2 tutties. You get what I'm saying? Like Ryan Williams, 43 yards, 5 receptions. Isaiah Horton, 5 receptions, 63 yards, 1 tutty. You know, uh, I want
That
to, I
boy
want to.
Bernard is that boy Bernard is
Yeah, that's what
the
I'm about to
one.
bring up. Like, what's his name? Like, Janae? Is it Janae Bernard?
I
Like,
can't remember.
Jeremy?
I don't
Jeremy? Might be Jeremy. It might be Jeremy
maybe.
Bernard. Dude, notice. Now, he put himself on notice this week. Man, I'm telling
Really,
you, like 5 receptions, 35 in a buck. I mean, like that, for Georgia, man, it's one of those situations, man. Like you should have won that game this week at the crib, man. But and then we have to shift gears. Like, are we Alabama? What does this say for Alabama now? Like, did we speak too soon? Did we speak too soon about the success?
And you absolutely right on that. And the more and I said this, I know you were on, but I said this in weeks following that Florida State loss. I was like, I think we learned more about Florida State than we did about Alabama in that first game. I said I think Florida State may have just been better than what we thought, and we may have oversold where we thought Alabama was. But I think overall in the college football landscape in general, there's no team that I think that highly of. There ain't a bunch of. There's about 2 teams that I feel very confident in each and every week. And I won't even say I feel confident. I just feel like they'll figure it out. That's Ohio State being one of them because of the wealth of talent they have in that building. They're still figuring out a quarterback, but I think as the weeks progress, as long as that he's insulated with great talent, so I don't think he'll fail unless things go catastrophically wrong, right? And I think Oregon, with Dan Lanning as their head coach, that team is prepared to go to battle against anybody up there in Oregon, but we'll get to them later. But aside from that, everybody else is topsy-turvy. I don't know where they're at. I don't know who they are. Georgia, the other week against Tennessee, looked like they were in trouble. Probably should have lost that game if the truth being told. And you figure out a way to win a tough one there in Knoxville. You ran up against Alabama. Ty Simpson came out, and Ty Simpson and his group came out early, firing quickly. Bam, 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 going to score within. They got those 3 touchdowns within the first 3-4 drives of the game, and they didn't score again. They didn't do anything else in the second half as far as scoring wise. Like they couldn't muster up any other points in that second half. So you figured it out for a half of football, and I think you just don't have the leaders on that team. You don't have the. I believe they had the playmakers though. But I think even at quarterback, you're maybe not as good as quarterback as you were a couple years ago. Like I downplayed Stetson Bennett's impact, but Stetson Bennett felt like the perfect quarterback for those Georgia teams. He felt like a guy that could make the timely throws. Felt like the guy that could pick up the timely first downs. And it didn't always look the best. It didn't always look the prettiest, but his game fit what Kirby Smart needed, which was, hey, look here, play within the system, play within the guys that we have on the field because we got talent everywhere. And when it's time to make a play, we need you to make a handful of plays a game and finish it off. And that's typically what Stetson Bennett was able to do. Carson Beck couldn't quite do it, and Gunnar Stockton so far hasn't proven he can do it just yet. On the flip side, with Kellen DeBoer in Alabama, he hasn't figured out how to call a full game in the SEC yet. Because even if I look at his 2 wins against Georgia, they mostly happened within the first half. There's 2 games in a row now. Kellen DeBoer has putting Kirby Smart's defense in a blender in the first half, but can't figure it out in the second. And you kind of just hold on for victory to end the game off. So I can't necessarily say whether I feel great about Alabama. I just don't think they were as bad as we may have made them out to be, to start the season off. They got to keep answering the question, though, because I still have questions about them. Ryan Williams, I'm still waiting on you because you dropped some money there earlier. Now you recovered, but Lord knows if they don't go score on that first drive or you drop that touchdown and Ty Simpson doesn't continuously, have a day after that, then the criticism will be much louder for you. But for Ty Simpson, I said going into that game, that was a Heisman moment kind of game. And for the first half, it was a Heisman moment. It looked like he had his out-of-body experience, but they just can't quite put that together for two halves of football. And that's the question. Because Alabama, to me, they do have a very solid offensive group. I like Jan Miller. I like Jeremy Bernard. I like Ryan Williams. I like Horton. I don't love them because they don't do this. They don't give me this for 4 quarters. So I think that's the next step for them and Kellen DeBoer is, how do we get this offensive group to play this high for 4 quarters? Because I look at how they started out the Florida State game, it was very similar. They jumped out hot on Florida State. Now Florida State figured it out pretty quickly and had it come to a screeching halt. But as we continue to move on throughout the season, we can look at Alabama's schedule and look at who they have. They have Vanderbilt coming up this weekend. Great opportunity to avenge yourselves, and you have that game at home. Great opportunity to see if Vanderbilt's really like that, and we'll see if Alabama is capable of stepping up their game on a week-to-week basis, because you could very well lose this game as well. Vanderbilt has shown they're physical, they can run the football. The one thing I saw Alabama struggle with to start the season out was the ground game. So will they have a problem? I mean, you look at Diego Pavia and look at what Tommy Castellanos did at Florida State, and they're similar play styles. So we'll get to see whether this Bama defense has grown any, if at all, in that ball game. Then you have Missouri, but these are 2 teams I think they can beat. Then you go on the road to Missouri on the 11th, and then you have Tennessee coming to Tuscaloosa on October 18th, and then you go on the road to South Carolina in the month of October. So these next 4 games are critical. Their schedule doesn't get much easier even after that. Then you have LSU, then you have Oklahoma, and then you end the season off with Auburn. So there's opportunity here for Alabama to get themselves right back where they want to be. Also opportunity here to fall flat on your face. So, I mean, questions have been asked and questions will be answered within these next couple of months. But overall, man, I look at Kirby Smart's team, bro, and I'm just like, they have so many missed opportunities in that game. You look at the drop touchdown by the true freshman, and I want to say that was in the 3rd quarter. Then you had a 4th and 1 that you don't convert. When you had a chance to just kick a field goal and tie the game, you look at those missed opportunities, it's like, dang, bro, like you kind of leave that shaking your head. But I don't know if Kirby Smart has an overall coaching problem or a Alabama problem. But right now, I don't see Georgia. Georgia's not a threat in the college football playoff or making the college football playoff at all. It's just that I don't know if anyone should be.
I don't think people should be concerned, at least right now. Again, like you said, with the Tennessee matchup, y'all barely escaped the win with that. You didn't win at home against Bama. So it's just like when you look at the rest of that schedule, it's like you got Kentucky, that's a win. Auburn, that's a win. Ole Miss is like your next test at this point. It's at home. Ole Miss, and we just talked about the new quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss. See how he does with that. Florida, Mississippi State, who's on a decent little run. Then you got Texas, Charlotte, and Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech, I don't know if y'all seen Georgia Tech, man, but them boys is rolling. Them boys is rolling. And that's your rival game at the end. So I mean, it's one of those situations where like we haven't had to talk about Georgia in this manner in a while. It's literally a situation where we have to play it week by week with them because at the quarterback situation, y'all really hasn't had a problem. It's like you said, we probably underestimated Stetson Bennett, just the type of player that he was. Because now it's just like, okay, like what are you like? The thing with Georgia and always been for Georgia, if you don't have an identity behind that center, you have nothing. That is nothing. That quarterback position motivates that entire team. You don't see that a lot with a lot of teams. You don't. And then with Georgia for being what they are, what they've always been, Kirby Smart is a defensive coach, but he's definitely known for getting his quarterback, getting his guy to lead that team to help motivate that defense. So now it's just like, all right, cool. Like if we ain't got that, what do we have? So
Right.
I'm not saying that they're out of it, at least not for now. I mean, y'all are number 12 right now, so y'all are sitting at the cuffs of the playoff bracket if the season ended today. I don't think it's worrisome, but again, you literally have to go and play Ole Miss. You have to go and play Georgia Tech. Like these are the games, even with Auburn, bro. Like I would say with Auburn, like, you know, I would be a little skeptical with that. But I wouldn't count them out just yet. They're just not the hierarchy that they've been in the past 3 seasons, I would say. They're just not up there anymore. They're a middle of the pack team, at least for now. And we're gonna figure it out as the season go on, which is something they never had to do. They never had to do. They never had to figure it out. And even if they did have to figure it out, they figured it out during the game time, and it was all right, cool. They dominated now. We've seen situations where they were down by 2 tutties, and like the second half comes, and you see the Georgia that we've been knowing that we've seen. We've never had to see them figure this out week by week. No. This is always a game situation. And we don't see that. Like, even with the Tennessee game, I feel like the Tennessee game was the only game this season we've seen them like, all right, we're going to figure it out in the game, and we won the game. Barely. You barely won that
game. And here's the thing. After the Tennessee game, I'm like, hey, if you follow that up with a win against Alabama, then I'm like, I'm ready to start to have a conversation about you as far as, hey, what are your national title aspirations? Now, mind you, it's not like the season isn't over. And this is what we have to always continuously say. Because we had to say it in week 1, and we have to say it again. Season ain't over after one loss. It ain't over after one game. You got multiple weeks to continuously prove yourself. And with the multitude of spots in the college football playoff now, it definitely ain't over. And there's a spot waiting on you there if you can muster up the strength to get there. So Georgia still has a chance. Georgia still has opportunity. But what I will say is I know the teams that I'm looking at for the national championship. And those teams right now would be Oregon and Ohio State to somehow get to somehow fight their way there. Now they would probably have to meet somewhere in the middle in terms of whether they had to play in a conference title game or whether they had to see each other in the playoffs before a national title would be there for both of them to get to. But I want to talk about the Oregon Ducks going on the road to Penn State, night game in Happy Valley, whiteout game. Energy's high. The fans are rabid. The stage is set for Penn State. Everybody's been talking about Penn State. They've given Penn State all the love and all the praise. But is James Franklin and his team finally ready to beat another top-ranked opponent? And what I'll say is this. Penn State, I saw this tweet, and I got to repeat it here. Penn State is the only top-ranked team that never has to be the top-ranked team to get their spot. They've never done it. And that's exactly what they did again on Saturday night. They didn't be the top-ranked team. And I'm going to give credit to Dan Lanning. I'm really starting to like Dan Lanning. The more and more I have to watch his teams play, the more and more I see it. Dog, they've made their transition to the Big Ten seamless. And it's because of their physicality. Like, their physicality doesn't reek of a team that came from the Pac-12. That physicality reeks of a team that really plays SEC kind of ball, Big Ten kind of ball. It reeks of a team that can go 4 quarters with just about anybody on the front lines, offensive line, defensive line. They're going to hit you in the mouth. They're going to be able to run the football. And the biggest difference for me this year with them is that Dante Moore, the quarterback, as young as he is, he looked very poised. He looked very within the moment. He played within himself. There were never too many times where I thought, oh man, he's right. He's starting to feel the pressure of the moment. He's starting to feel the crowd. It never really looked like that. Now, in college football, we know there are ebbs and flows with these games, and your momentum does change, and teams can start riding a wave of momentum and take that on to a victory. But even still, watch that young quarterback go out there and perform when he was called upon. And I just gotta give credit to that team and their mental fortitude to go on the road to get that win.
My thing is, how do you out coach your opposing coach and you still lose the game? That's my thing. Like James Franklin, like you said, the stage was set for him, and you still lose the game. What does this mean, like, for Penn State, dude? Like you said, Penn State has never had to beat a top ranked opponent to get to where they are, and it's like Penn State will always be, to me, the little brother of the top tier teams in the Big Ten. And then you got the cousins coming over from another conference, coming to your dome, and they do better than you. They better than y'all. They're better than y'all. So it's just like, for me, it's like I feel like the state, like you said, it was set up for them to at least go in and dominate. You had the fans. It was a whiteout, and everything was set. Everything was set, and you just lose that game the way you did. Dante Moore, bro. I want to talk about Dante Moore, bro. Like you say, he's probably poised to be a sophomore, 6'3", some 206, bro. The dude, I like the dude. I've been watching him for weeks. I like the way the kid plays. I love how at ease he is. And to go into a hostile environment like that, as young as he is, and to perform like that, 248 yards, bro. He was 29 for 39, and he got 3 tutties.
Mm-hmm.
In Penn State, in a whiteout game at night, and you come up with a win. So it's just like, we gotta have the conversations with him in terms of one of the best quarterbacks in college football right now. At least.
Oh,
I'm not saying
look,
yet, but
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I'm picking a quarterback, and if I'm going into the NFL draft, and I want a young quarterback with talent that I believe can grow into being one of the best in the game, I believe Dante Moore is very much on that list. Mm-hmm. He's on that list to me because of how he handles himself within the pocket, doesn't turn the football over, decision making solid. I think he has. I don't know about his arm talent, all the arm ability, all that stuff. I haven't watched enough of him consistently to know where scouts rank him in terms of all that and whatnot. So I can't sit there and put that on. But from what I saw, I watched a guy that's got big. I think he has big time arm ability that can translate over to the next level. And because of how he plays, because of how he can play the game within the pocket at such a young age today, it makes me more bullish on him than other guys coming out within this class as well. So I think that's kind of where I'm at with him. You talk about it, 29-39, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, big time passing touchdown in that overtime as well. But I look at the ground game. They ran the ball 39 times for 176 yards. De'Aaron Hill, 10 carries, 82 yards. Dante Moore carried the ball 10 times for 35. Noah Whittington, 7 carries for 25. It wasn't necessarily the prettiest. It was a by committee type of ground attack, but to do that against a good defense in Penn State, because if there's anything Penn State's gonna have, they're gonna have a defense. That's typically how they're gonna win their games and how they're gonna stay in their games. The biggest disappointment for me, and this should kind of question. And again, I cannot end the kid's career over one game. But Drew Allen, you got to come to the altar, because people have kept telling us about who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be this all-world prospect, the size, the arm ability, all of these things. But I watch you, and you shrivel in the moment every time. You shriveled in the moment last year against Notre Dame, and that's why you don't have a national championship right now. You shriveled in the moment, and pretty much every big game you played as a starter there at Penn State. And for James Franklin, I don't think you're not gonna win a big game with Drew Allen at quarterback. You're not winning the Big Ten. You're not winning a playoff. You can win a playoff game if you see like a Boise State again. but you're not beating the good teams. You're not beating the best teams within your conference. If I'm being completely honest, so that's what it boils down to for me. Drew Aller just isn't what everybody's told me he's going to be, and not only that, if you're a team looking to draft him, whose skill set does he have that you think would make him a successful NFL quarterback?
I think the thing about it, if he does get drafted, it'll be a prospect. It'll be a potential thing. I think it's one of those situations where it's like his struggle is the big moment. That is his struggle. We see how he plays, against regular team. I mean, even this year, bro, like his stats, it ain't that bad. Like, I mean, it's if you look at it, it's just like, all right, cool. Like, okay, against Oregon, he was like 137, 4 for 25, 2 tutties, 1 interception. And that was like 1 out of 2 all year. So, I mean, but then again, like you said, that's a big time opponent. Like you didn't deliver. You didn't deliver with that. So, I mean, it's because even against like Villanova, like 200 yards, 200 yards, 200 yards, and it's 3 games. And it's like now it's just like, bro, like.
Well, it's like, and I won't even knock him for his pure numbers against those other teams, because I'm like, these are teams you're supposed to blow out anyway. But it's just the fact of the matter is that we haven't seen you do it against a legitimate opponent, like at all. So like I don't like the raw numbers don't even bother me as much as I watched you in that game throw a pick on the first play of the second overtime. Like, I watched you do that, and that's the thing where it's like, and this is the question I have for the people that are going to be watching it, and when we clip this is the question for all of you. What skill set does Drew Aller have that would make him a first-round quarterback, much less a starting quarterback at all in the NFL? Because I don't see he doesn't have it from an athletic standpoint. He doesn't run very well. He isn't very mobile. He isn't very accurate, and his arm. I think his throwing power is, I think it's fine. It's not nothing that's not eye popping. It doesn't just flick off the wrist like I've seen other quarterbacks. So it's like, what is it he's supposed to be that makes him this all-world prospect that teams have to go take? And that's my question to everyone. I have to say, I'm not a quarterback evaluator, and I've been very wrong about some of these quarterbacks here in the past. But I will continue to say, I do not think that's a quarterback that you're supposed to take in the NFL draft and say, hey, leave my franchise.
I will say this, though, for Penn State. For Penn State specifically, James Franklin, you lucky because the spotlight is not on you. The spotlight is not on you for the remainder of the season. The spotlight is definitely going to be on Drew Aller. Y'all are number 7. And y'all schedule for the remainder of the year. Everything is you got Ohio State. You got Ohio State in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Indiana. Those are the only 2 games. So you got another chance. Drew, you got another chance against Ohio State, but you are at Ohio State.
And here's the thing, right? They don't even have to beat Ohio State. Like,
they don't.
I go ahead and I ain't gonna call Ohio State an automatic L. I'm leaning towards it, of course. I want to just go ahead and give it to them. But if you go beat Indiana and then win the rest of your game, then you're in the playoff again. Even though I'm like, there's gonna be a team out there that's more deserving than you to get it, because if you lose to Ohio State, you would have lost to the 2 teams that we thought you were really battling against to win your conference. So at that point, I'm like, dog. And I think the only thing that has to happen against Ohio State for them is just don't get blown out. As long as you don't get blown out, which I don't believe they will, because I don't believe Ohio State's found their rhythm offensively for me to feel like they're going to be able to blow them out. But yeah,
I will say that
do not get blown out.
You lose one of them games, your season's over. I preferably think, and this is just what I'm saying, I preferably think it's going to be against Indiana.
Losing against Indiana is over.
I think it's going to be against Indiana. I really do.
That's going to be fun.
I really do, bro. Because I like you said, Ohio State, like you said, they haven't found a rhythm, so you have to watch the film. You have to take advantage of that. You have to take advantage of the fact that they have not found a rhythm. However, Indiana, I don't know if you seen the clip. Them boys ran the wrong way just to win the game. Yeah, listen.
Shout out that boy Kurt Signetti, boy.
I thought Indiana was just Indiana last year because they was hot last year. Bro,
Yeah.
Indiana ain't playing. They not playing with y'all. Y'all listen. Y'all don't know. I watch Indiana football, bro. Them boys is coming. They coming. And then they want a Penn State. And I know we jumping on topics right now, but again, it's like your biggest kryptonite is not Ohio State because you know you can go. You've been in a hostile environment already. You've been to Penn State, so you should be aware of like, okay, I'm going into a hostile. I'm going into the O, playing against Ohio State, number one team in the country. I have the potential to win this game, but Indiana at home, you gotta take advantage of that.
Indiana's got a chance to do something big. Indiana has a chance to do something special. If we can just, I mean, Indiana they got some golly. So all right, so the Hoosiers play Oregon in a couple weeks, October 11th, 3:30 on CBS. I don't know why that's not a night game. I can't imagine why that's not a night game. Doesn't makes no sense to me. But they'll go on the road to Autzen Stadium to play Oregon. Huge test for both of those teams. Huge opportunity for Indiana here, though. Huge opportunity for Indiana. And here's the thing: their conference is set up to where they could lose 2 games and still be in the playoff. Like I think if Indiana's losses are only to Oregon and Penn State, then can you really hold them out of the playoff? It's going to be tough.
But I feel
it's
like
going to depend on what happens around the country. But
I feel like it's that, and I also it depends on like Oregon, no, because it's Oregon. I think it really depends on where both Penn State and Indiana are once they get to where they are when they play.
Right.
If it's to the point where, like Indiana is like, let's say they lose, because right now they're 8. They lose to Oregon. Let's say they jump up to like maybe like 6 the next week. Then they play Oregon and they like 5, whatever. You lose that game, you'll probably go down maybe like 8 again, 9. Penn State probably doing their thing. They probably like 6. If it's like a 6-7 matchup, all right, cool. We got to see where both of y'all at before y'all play. It's gonna be the battle of the playoffs because whoever lose that game, they out. They out.
But I'm telling you right now though, there's a scenario where Penn State and Indiana both end at 10-2, and if they're both at 10-2. Who do you leave out? Who's getting left out of that equation? That's going to be a question for the committee to answer. I'm intrigued to see what happens. I think there's a realistic possibility that we have Bedlam and there are going to be multiple teams sitting there with 2 losses that you got to decide between. And then what other conference has something to say about that as well is also going to be the thing. As we get ready, we're coming towards the end of this episode. So the South Carolina Gamecocks, they played at home versus the Kentucky Wildcats in the battle of hatred between Mark Stoops and Shane Beamer. These 2 religiously throw shots at each other each and every year before their heated matchup. And South Carolina, for how this game started out, looked like the same South Carolina team we had looked at the past couple weeks. They started out slow on offense. Defense looked terrible. Everything was going bad. Everything was bad. I lied. The offense actually started out fast, but I'm just so irritated with this team that sometimes I forget what actually happened. So the offense didn't start out so slow. The offense actually had a nice drive to start the game off. But that's kind of part of the course for these Mike Shula offenses. They'll start the game off strong, but where is it in the middle of the game when the script is done and you have to just call plays from what you see and what you feel? So big time plays by this defense, though. Each and every opportunity that this defense had to make a play, they made it. And lo and behold, you jump out on Kentucky to the sum of 28-10, and you win that game 35-10. I'm not gonna lie, there isn't much to talk about with this game after the first half. There isn't much there. I'll say this: offensively, you found your wide receiver 1 in Van Jacobs. Ace crowned him a couple weeks ago, I believe, and I was begging to see see the guys from last year that made plays for us get an opportunity this year. I didn't understand why Donovan Murph and Brian Rowe were both playing ahead of multiple guys that helped us last year. But I'm not the head coach. I don't make these decisions. I'm not in those rooms. So whatever. The offensive line still isn't great. I thought they found a little bit more of a rhythm in the ground game, but even still, nothing overly impressive. A win is a win, and I'll take it because we needed one badly. You go into a bye week with a win. That's great. You have LSU coming out of the bye week. That's not great, but an opportunity nonetheless. I don't know. I just kind of I've lost my vigor for this team. I've lost it, and they gotta find a way to bring me and the rest of the fan base back into the fold and have us believe. But as of right now, how I'm seeing things get done, I'm not a believer in this group at all, man. Still,
the dream died. The dream already died for me, man. It was when we lost that. When we lost to Vandy, bro, the dream died. The dream died for me because the thing I can't stand is like we kind of like how Georgia. We talked about Georgia earlier in the show, where it's like you figure it out throughout the game. We figure out when we want to figure it out, and it's like even against Kentucky, it's just like, bro, like where was this? I was talking about homie, and I was like, bro, where was this weeks ago, bro? Where was this when we played Vandy? Where was this? Like, where? And I get it. Like, Lenore's got hurt, so that was pretty unfortunate. But it's like you see against Kentucky, you seen how free he was, and you seen how explosive the offense was. Like Van, all them guys. Like, but for me, it was just like, where was this at the start of the year? Like, and that's why a lot of people come to us with flack now. Everybody coming to me like, oh yeah, South Carolina ain't gonna do much, man. You know, I believe you. I believe you now. Like when we was number 11 in the country, I was like, man, y'all hating, y'all doing whatever. But you know me, bro. I let the dream get ahead of me. Yep. I let it get ahead of me, and you know how I feel in the past couple of years, bro. I should have known better. I ain't got nothing against Shane, bro. But listen, bro. Listen. Stop feeding us false hope at that point.
Yeah.
Now the dream gone. The dream is gone. We ain't gonna never get that close again. 11, that's just cap. They get for me. It's despicable, bro. It's despicable. I can't even be impressed with the win. I can't, cause where we going? We ain't going nowhere.
You're right. Where are we going? Where is this going? Where is this going, bro? You know what I'm saying?
So we didn't win the games we were supposed to win. We didn't win the game. We were supposed to beat Mizzou. Didn't beat them. We should have followed up with that. Didn't do that. Vandy, I can't even get upset with Vandy because it's like we lost our quarterback, but it's like, dog, what are we?
Man, even prior to it, man, it just hasn't. We didn't have much life even prior to losing Lenore. Obviously, it didn't help once we lost them, but you know, it's what it is. But yeah, I think the positive I did see was that Lenore took it upon himself to make plays in this Kentucky game. He decided, look, bro, I'm going to run the rock. I'm going to call my shots. I'm going to make it happen. And that's the playmaker we thought we had. But what we hoped for all year, all summer, was that the team would be good enough to not have to need Lenore to do that. And that's where I'm disappointed. And I'm disappointed. I look at the coaching staff. I'm like, I look at the rest of y'all. I'm like, bro, what were we doing in the offseason? What what was it? You didn't go get a receiver in the portal, but also you don't trust the guys that you kept on the roster, that you made sure to keep on the roster out of the portal. So what was that for? The defensive side of the ball, I can understand the growing pains there. I completely understand the growing pains there. Am I disappointed still? Yeah. But I understand the growing pains because you lost a lot of OGs in that room that are in the league right now. So it's tough to sit there and say, man, that defense is supposed to be on the same level. It hurts because we have a guy like Dylan Stewart. And we know that guys like him don't come around very often. He's a special talent. And he chose to come to South Carolina. in this era of college football, it's hard to keep guys like that in one place, especially a place like South Carolina. So the biggest worry that all of us have is, well, is Dylan Stewart going to be out the door if we don't have some type of success this year? I'm like, it's realistic. I'm kind of expecting it. I'm kind of expecting somebody to come in and swoop him with the offer he just can't refuse. But I mean, that's just kind of where everything is right now. Yeah. And I don't know. I like you said, we fed into it. We fed into the program of love, all these things, all the hype videos this offseason got us. And I don't care about any of that anymore. I just want to win games.
I don't want to
win. I want to win games consistently.
I just want us to be elite, and we had it. It was right. It was right there in our hand. We could have been. I ain't saying we could have been like top 5. But we could have just been still in that top 8, range, and we should be where Ole Miss at. Ole Miss we should be up there at least, not 4, but at least like 6,
right?
7.
Here's the thing, right? Like. Now, like with 5 games in, we got to hope for a 7-game win streak. That's what we got to hope for. You got to hope for a 7-game win streak.
Yeah, but it won't hit the same like last year.
No, it absolutely won't, because the expectation was there this year to actually go do something. And it's disappointing. And I guess the issue I have is that it's the second time in Beam's career where we thought we had the quarterback. And we thought we were gonna follow it up with a solid season, and you fell flat on your face. Now it ain't over. Season ain't over, but you got a murderer's row of teams coming up. You got LSU, you got Ole Miss, you got Alabama, you got Texas A&M. You know what I'm saying? It don't get no easier. This was as easy as it was gonna get. And I don't know if you. I'll just be honest. I have very little faith that Shane can coach his team up to the level it'll take to get through this schedule.
Yeah,
I just don't believe it. I'm just not sold. And it's not that any of the teams that we're playing can't be beat. It's just, can you do it?
Right.
Like, yeah. I mean, none of these teams are unbeatable, but will you be able to do it when the time comes? So. That's going to be the biggest thing.
I think, man, it's one of those situations, bro. Like, it's hard. Like, stop hiding your friends, man. Stop doing all this stuff, like bringing people home and like they do in the Carolina. Some of these cats ain't fit for the job, man. They not. Like, I feel like Shane is, and I get it. He's a cultural, influencer when it comes to South Carolina football. He wants to bring in people who's connected to the city and the program and all that type of stuff like that. They not cutting it. You've been doing it ever since you got here. You should know by now they not cutting it. They not cutting it, man. You got to go and get some coordinators that's willing to win. They don't care about none of that. I'm not saying y'all got to be Jimmy Johnson out here, bro. Y'all got to be Dallas Cowboy. He don't care about nothing but winning, bro. I don't know if y'all seen that documentary with the Cowboy. That man got a divorce so he can focus on football. I ain't saying go do that. Don't go do that. He won. I ain't saying don't do that. I need y'all boys out here at least giving this football effort a chance. Because it's like, dude, we should not have been where we were at the beginning of the year. A playoff contention team. I ain't saying national championship. A playoff contention team.
We're just talking about playoffs.
Playoffs, bro. And we just like that, gone overnight. Shout out to the fans for continuing to be loyal, continue to show up. Because we have a reason to show up. Norris is there. You know what I'm saying? Shane, all of that. But everybody, I keep hearing these comments. I keep seeing the tweets. Mike Shula got to go. All this, like all the Mike Shula, all the memes and all this stuff like that. All that stuff, bro. And it's like, bro, y'all should have known this by now, bro. Y'all should have known this by now.
I drink the Kool-Aid, bro.
Ace out here taking breaks because he's stressed. My man is stressed.
Y'all are stressing my boy. Y'all are stressing my dog out, bro. And that's why I need you. Beam, you are stressing my dog out, bro. He can't even think straight because of y'all boys, man. He can't eat. He can't sleep. Man, Got my boy feeling like damn. What's his name? A lottery ticket, bro. Yeah, come on, I got my boy effed up, bro. My boy, he feeling different. He breathing different. You know what I'm saying?
You got the power to change that bean. You. Oh, hey,
bro.
He broke.
Hey, dog. Oh man, but yeah, I know we're gonna sound like doom and gloom to our South Carolina brethren, but it's just that's where we at with it, bro. I can't keep lying to myself anymore just to appease the fan base, dog. I can't do it, bro. I'm just not impressed. I won't be impressed until you do something impressive. So
I ain't gonna be impressed no more, man. It's just gonna be like whatever. We win the games, whatever. And if I make it to a game this year, it's like all right, cool. But it's the excitement ain't there no more, man. Yeah. I said that years ago, bro. I was like, bro, like we gonna get too full of ourselves. If we get to a spot where we gonna get too full of ourselves. Now I like the comment that Shane made at the end, bro. The Beamer comment. I like that.
Yeah, that's Beamer cool.
But
that's fine.
Like we can't. You can't get your hopes up, man. Now I think the only good thing about this season is that Clemson is just as bad. That's the only good thing.
That is it.
That's it. That is literally it. Like that game could be literally a toss up of who's the worst team.
Literally I don't think I got a prediction for that. I mean, it's not even a crazy prediction. I don't think either one of us are making a bowl game this year.
No. I know Clemson's not. Clemson damn sure ain't. Carolina maybe. It depends on how the rest of the stretch goes.
They'll beat Carolina. But they got. I think they still got Louisville coming up. I think they do play Florida State. So they got opportunity to get back right, but they also got plenty of opportunity to lose their ass off too. So
and also, Dabo is not making a strong case. Listen, I get it. Like we don't like Dabo. We don't. But these press conferences, man, it ain't helping you out. It's right. It's on the wall at this point.
He looks like you know what's funny about Dabo right now? He looks like everything everybody said he was while he was winning. But see, we were just hating when we said it while he was winning. But he was like everything that we thought he was, bro. Like, I mean, truth be told. But Clemson probably got another. I think I'm just going to predict the Clemson losses right now. They lose to Duke, they lose to Florida State, and they lose to Louisville. South Carolina's a toss-up. So they'll be sitting on the brink. I think beating South Carolina would guarantee them a bowl game. I think that's it though. Nothing else is there though for them. I don't believe it. Now, I will say, crazy enough, they're not out of the conference hunt for the ACC. They're not out of it. It's just it looks a little bleak right now.
Yeah,
that's all. But I don't know. I mean, NFL wise, I mean, my Panthers are terrible. I'm not really about to talk about them boys. I'm truth be told. I don't have anything. I mean, other than the Ravens needing to clean house and start it over, it's over with in Baltimore. It's over. Yeah, it's over for the Ravens. It's over with. And this has been coming for a while because you've missed opportunity after opportunity to go to go make a Super Bowl. Not even win one, just to go make one. You missed opportunities, and it's bottoming out. Derrick Henry having the year he's having with the fumbles, it's over with. There's no redeeming qualities about this team to save them. Injuries are piling up. It's a wrap.
I don't think it's over. But the back's against the wall. I'll say that. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't think it's because you look at the rest of their schedule. They got the Texans, Rams, they got the Bears, Dolphins, Vikings. So like the next 5. Even 6, hell, the rest of they open till they get to maybe the Steelers. The rest of their season is it's like, all right, cool. You can like bounce back from that. You can bounce back from that. Now, if it was to the point where you're losing games to the Bears, and you look like if you lose the way you lost to like who Detroit,
they lost to Kansas City.
The way you lost to Detroit, you cannot lose that way again to anybody. You can't. You can't lose that way again. The Chiefs, I understand. The Chiefs, even though it was bad, but the Chiefs is okay. But you in the I'm not taking nothing away from Detroit, but you cannot allow that comeback against a team, and you're way much better than them. I wouldn't say it's over. I don't think it's over. I think the backs are against the wall. I think there is frustration there. I think Derrick Henry is frustrated for being there. I think he's more frustrated because of Lamar being the guy, at least. He wants to be the guy.
He needs to be frustrated with himself.
Marvin
Boosh fumbled the ball in every single game. Mm-hmm. Like he is like there's nobody he can be frustrated with other than his own performance and what he's done. He cost you the Buffalo game, and he cost you the Detroit game, all off the heels of fumbles. I see. Yeah, man. I don't know.
I'll say this. That group chat, y'all. The group chat, man. According to Ace and Tease, it ain't looking good for Bryce. It ain't looking good.
It's not. But here's what I'll say about Bryce and how he's performed thus far. I don't believe the failures of this team are all on him, which has kind of been the case for most. Like last year when last year started out, he played so bad that I couldn't defend anything he did last year. This year, I thought he's played with a level of poise and a level and I feel like he's tried to build on what he did last year, but I think the play calling has been terrible. I think the play calling hasn't done him many favors. And also the injuries, the untimely injuries, like losing Jalen Coker as soon as you traded away Adam Thielen wasn't ideal. Xavier Legette regressing wasn't ideal, and then also losing him to a hamstring injury. Having now to rely on your rookie wide receiver and nobody else. And going into that game, I said they're gonna take him away. They're not gonna allow T-Mac to get off. No team from this point forward will allow Tedero and McMillan to beat them. That will not be the case. And until you get some of those guys back, and I know even with as bad as Xavier played, you still need him on the field, at least for the mere threat that he could get the ball. Not even if he doesn't get it, fine, but just for the mere threat defense may have to try to defend him, then that's why you need him on the field right now. But this team right now is dead in the water. The defense found itself right back to square one. DJ Johnson is the worst football player I've ever seen. I cannot believe I had to watch that for 60 minutes. That actually made my eyes bleed. Like I actually needed compensation for that. I think I got mesothelioma from watching them boys. I damn near feel I need to be financially compensated for sure. There is just. I mean, it's like, where do you go from here? Because I don't think Dave to this point has done nothing to prove what I thought about him to be true. I thought he was going to be a better. I thought he was going to be good for a young quarterback. I thought he would be a solid play caller. I thought he could put our guys in position to succeed, and he's done none of those things. I think the only player he can scheme up an offense for is T-Mac, and then outside of that, there's nothing else he can do. But even even some of the offensive line guys, K Mays, he didn't have a great game. A lot of things just didn't go right, and you play Miami here on Sunday, and obviously we know what happened with them on Monday night. Prayers up to Tyreek Hill. But I predict that even without Tyreek Hill, they'll get a chance to right the ship with their season. And Tua Tagovailoa will have another week of he'll buy himself another few weeks with a great performance against the Carolina defense. If I had to predict it, just how these things go, I just can never predict this team to ever win again. I'm not going to. I'm actually not going to predict this team to win another game. If you ask me what I think Patrick's going to do this week, ass whoop every time. I'm not going nothing else. I literally cannot do it with this team anymore. There is no. I have this team defies logic and reason to another level. You think your team is ass until you watch this team, and then you think they're bad until you watch them top that with another help in the ass cheeks. You know what I'm saying? They just stack it on top of each other, bro. It's like them boys are playing Tetris with the ass. They wasn't just stacking it, one on top of the other, just one ass cheek after another, bro, just putting it right on top of each other, bro. It's ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this, bro. It's actually amazing. I never thought in my lifetime I would be I never thought I would live the same life as like a Cleveland Browns fan or as a Detroit Lions fan prior to this era they're in right now. I never thought I would live to see this era. We were always kind of average, but we would always find our way up to the top ranks of the league. And then we trickle back down, but then we found our way back up again. I never thought I'd be here. I never thought, bro. I spent my entire 20s. Brother, they've made the playoff once since I've been in my 20s. Once. You could not have told me at the young age of 21, hey brother, your team gonna make the playoffs one more time in this decade, and that's gonna be it for you. And you ain't never gonna see that again. I would have said, bro, you bullshitting, bro. Come on, get out my face. And lo and behold, look at where we are. Damn near a decade later, I ain't seen a playoff. Ain't seen a playoff win. Ain't seen a winning season since. So, yeah. Everybody's got to go. Even if I don't believe Bryce is the problem, there's no good will be done with this. With everybody staying, they have to clean house. They have to clean it out, and it just is what it is.
I'll say this about the coach, man. Tough loss against LA. Danny Dimes, you just can't make that throw at the end. I know it was a pressure throw. It's double coverage. We all knew it was going to Michael Pittman. So you just got to have a better read. Tough loss. AD Mitchell.
Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. Ooh.
I ain't even going to say cut the brother because I ain't the type of person that be like, lose the job, whatever, bro. But you on thin ice after that, bro. You gave not one, but two, bro. Two crucial touchdowns. You had the holding on the Jonathan Taylor touchdown, and then you celebrated too early. The biggest meme in America right now is that.
I'm going to be honest, man.
Two crucial tutties, bro.
Your career may have just gotten defined by that one play.
Oh, for sure.
Like, no matter what you do from here on out, your career is young, and it's kind of already defined by that one play. Is it? That's like there is no escaping it. If Cam Newton can't live down the fumble, you sure as hell ain't gonna live down that. So, yeah.
But you know what? It is what it is, man. I feel like we should have won that game if it wasn't for those two crucial mistakes, man. I ain't the type of person that be like, yeah, lose your job. Everybody in the comments was like, yo, like y'all need to cut him tomorrow. I was like, somebody say y'all need to cut him before he get on the plane. I was like, dang, don't do that. But nah, it's just a crucial loss. You know what I'm saying? Next week will be next week. It is what it is.
Who y'all got next week?
Who do we have next week? Let me take a look at this, boy. We have the Oakland Raiders. Actually, no, we got a bye week.
Oh.
Actually, no. What's Sunday's the 5th, right? Yeah, we got Oakland. Yeah. Not Oakland.
Okay. Vegas.
We got Vegas.
Winnable game. Great chance to bounce back.
Oh, yeah.
Great opportunity to bounce back. So yeah. But yeah, dog. That's pretty much all I got for today, man. That's all we got.
Yeah, let's go.
That's all we got, man. This has been Gem Dropper Sports. I'm your host, Shanti Stewart. This is my co-host, D'Angelo Stevenson. And Ace, get well soon, big dog.
Well soon.
And we out, man.
Peace.